Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow.
This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
We'll sit back and enjoy some Jimi Hendrix.
I was going to say.
On a New Year's Eve. 4:10 along the Wasatch Front on this Tuesday afternoon. Jeremiah Jensen, Jake Hatch in for Alex Kirry. Last show of 2025, we'll have the Las Vegas Bowl right here on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone at this time tomorrow, so enjoy the game. If you listen on the radio, we'll have it for you. We've talked about Utah today. I think they're going to win tomorrow. I think they win handily and easily. BYU's already done with their bowl game. Mm-hmm. BYU has put a bow on 2025, and they're moving into 2026. And, Jake, you cover BYU very, very tightly and closely. You know a lot of things going on, behind the scenes, so I'd love to get your thoughts here while I have you about what BYU is going to look like in 2026. You got a lot of seniors you're going to have to replace. You may have a coordinator or two that needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
As you're looking at BYU moving forward, you know Kalani's back. That was taken care of.
Correct.
But there's a lot of other moving parts. What are some of the things you're looking at right now and you're keeping an eye on? If this happens, or who's going to step up here or there as far as position goes, some of the things you're looking forward to figuring out and seeing play out in 2026 for BYU.
Well, so the number one domino that I think we're all expecting to happen is that Jay Hill is expected to join Kyle Whittingham's staff in Michigan. Now, I'm of the opinion that we already talked about this earlier, that after this Las Vegas Bowl, the moving parts for Utah, well, I think that involves whoever Kyle Whittingham is tabbing to take with him, whether it's Jason Becker in the offensive staff, maybe even a defensive staffer or two from Utah. It feels like Jay Hill will be kind of swallowed up in that group, if that makes sense. So It's kind of a waiting game at this point. Now, if you go on social media, the opinions vary widely on this, saying that, well, the longer this goes on, it gives BYU a chance. I really don't think it's that. I just think it's a matter of Kyle wants to not necessarily announce, got this coach. He wants to do like a group and announce them all at the same time and say, these are my guys. Because he made it clear. He says, I'm bringing guys with me, 7 or 8 in theory, maybe keeping 1, 2, or 3 guys from that current Michigan staff.
Yeah.
So it feels like Jay Hill is on his way to Michigan. The associated question with that is, okay, could somebody like a Gary Anderson, Gennaro Guilford, could they be going with him to Ann Arbor? Or could BYU tab one or both of them, something that Hans has hypothesized multiple times over the last couple of days? Could one of those or both of those guys be the tandem that replaces Jay as the defensive coordinator in Provo, Utah?
Wow.
So that's the first moving parts of all this. And then, oh, by the way, Aaron Roderick. PK said it on our airwaves yesterday that he believes that it's very much in play that A-Rod can be going back to Utah as their offensive coordinator.
Imagine that.
He mentioned some lifestyle stuff that he feels like would work out. It's been pretty well known. Aaron's lived in the same house. It's in right near Rice Eccles Stadium. When BYU played up there last year and won that game, he said after the game, I walked home with my son after the game. It's that close. He lives that close.
Well, he never needed to sell his house before. I mean, you're still working in the state,
correct?
Right?
Yeah. So
why move if you like where you're living?
Exactly. So there's a moving part with Jay Hill. Who does he maybe tab if he were to leave BYU with him? And then Aaron Roderick, let's say he does make the move back 40 miles north. Who does he potentially bring with him? And suddenly, how many spots, and in theory, up to 2 slots, does Kalani Sitake have to backfill?
And somebody skeptic would say, well, why would Aaron Roderick want to go back to a place that fired him?
Well, that's a great question.
Well, the man that fired him is no longer there.
Bingo. It's a new regime. Now, he worked with Morgan Scalley at Utah.
Yes.
So you're thinking like the guy that ultimately let him go is in Ann Arbor, Michigan now. So it's kind of a new era, and that's why I think there may be some appeal for Aaron going back to a place that, once upon a time let him go.
And that would say something about what the relationship is between Aaron Roderick and Morgan Scalley.
Correct, yes.
So you can understand the draw there.
Yeah. So there are a lot of moving parts for BYU, obviously, but there's no real movement yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and there won't be And we had a Michigan beat writer on yesterday, and he made a great point and said that out of respect for Michigan's coaching staff and Utah's coaching staff, they're not going to make any announcements or make anything official until after both teams have finished their seasons, which is tomorrow. Yeah. Both Michigan and Utah play bowl games tomorrow at 1 p.m. for Michigan, 1:30 p.m. for Utah. Once those games are over, things will start to move.
Yeah, all bets are off at that point.
Then things will move. We could see announcements as early as New Year's Day, most likely on Friday.
Yeah.
And we'll see how this all shakes out. But it's crazy to think that Kyle Whittingham stepping down and then taking this Michigan job not only would have an impact on Utah, which was obvious, but BYU could have been impacted like this as well. Because if BYU has to replace two coordinators after all the success that they've enjoyed over the last 2 years, Jake, I'm starting to process this in my brain as look, this happens all the time. All right, coordinators move on. Yeah. Changes happen. Every year there's a coaching carousel, especially among assistant coaches. Guys are trying to find new opportunities to grow and progress. This is nothing new. So it's not like this is like, oh my gosh, what's BYU going to do? That's not what I'm saying here. But when you have to replace both coordinators and two coordinators that have had such an impact on your identity, Aaron Roderick's been there for a while now.
Yeah.
And coached a lot of guys at the quarterback position that have gone on to the NFL. That's a significant move and loss for BYU. Now, a lot of BYU fans are listening to me right now saying, we should have got rid of that bum a long time ago.
Well, yeah.
Okay, you have your opinions on it, but, I mean, he's put quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, and he's put together
They've recruited at a very high level, including just landing Ryder Lions.
Yeah.
And they've won 23 games in 2 years.
23 and 4.
At the Power 4 level. And that offense has been pretty good. So, I'm going to go on the radio, and I'm going to give Aaron Roderick a lot of credit for what he's accomplished at BYU. It's pretty remarkable. He's got one heck of a resume. You can have opinions about his play calling, and that's up to you. I'm looking at the overall thing as in my chair where I evaluate it, and Aaron Roderick has been a phenomenal offense coordinator at BYU. Nobody's perfect. Nobody has perfect play calls and this and that and the recruiting, whatever. But you look at his overall resume and what he's accomplished at BYU on the offensive side of the ball, and it's pretty remarkable. And it's no secret what Jay Hill's been able to do. And the difference he's made since he's come on board as that defensive coordinator. And I cover high school football and college, and I see all the movement from recruiting in the high school ranks here, especially here in Utah, to what he's done there. And Jay Hill has made a massive difference for BYU in their ability to get in-state kids in Utah to go to BYU. Falatau Satuala is at BYU because of Jay Hill.
Yeah. And Associated Impact, let's say he does go to
Again,
Michigan.
We saw John Henry Daly enter the transfer portal today. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I have no idea what kids' plans are, but when these guys leave, a lot of these players who have relationships with those coordinators and assistant coaches, sometimes the players have greater relationships with the coordinators and the assistants than they do the head coach.
Yeah, you learn very quickly which guys committed to universities for which coach, essentially, when stuff like this goes down. So, yeah, and Falatau's been open. Says the reason why he picked BYU in large part was Jay Hill. So if Jay Hill were to move on, it'd be very natural to think that Falatau's going to be like, wonder what Michigan looks like.
Yeah, and then how much money do they have to give a kid that's shown what I've shown this season?
Yeah.
Falatau Satuala was a breakout. I'm not surprised.
No,
but he was a breakout player for BYU this year defensively, made some massive plays to help them win games.
So, but to your point, it's like, okay, there's going to be Cougar fans that think about the fact that we just went 12-2 and we're going to lose both of our coordinators potentially. What is going on in pro? Like, it's going to set off alarm bells in their head.
Right. I get that.
I want to add, though, that you kind of need to reframe your thought process when it comes to BYU in this circumstance, because I think a lot of Cougar fans out there are still stuck in the BYU is the Little Sisters of the Poor type program.
Right.
Because that's what they were for decades, even in Independence.
It was tough in Independence, yeah.
We had, when Bronco Mendenhall left for Virginia, Tom Homo sat at that press conference and said, well, the question I think was asked him, did you try and keep him? And he said, we couldn't compete with the money. It's like, we straight up.
I'm glad you brought that up, because Bronco Mendenhall's contract was $3 million a year.
Yeah, and they
in 2016,
and they couldn't compete with that.
Right.
They said
how times have changed.
They said hey, Bronco, thank you, but moving along.
Yeah.
Now BYU is capable of paying Kalani Sitake reportedly somewhere between $8.5 and $9.5 million annually, making him the second highest paid coach in the Big 12 Conference.
Yep.
Which shows how far they've come in about a decade's worth of time. But it also points to the fact, and I think I want to get this across to Cougar fans, is understand that if they do lose one or both of these coordinators, they also have an opportunity to go out and attract people out there to BYU who are going to look at the track record and say, that's not a broken program. I want in on that.
Yeah.
And names and
I don't know. Bear Bachmeier coming back. That's
correct.
Attractive.
And there are people going to say, well, is Bear Bachmeier going to go with Aaron Roderick? TBD. But the question is, you look at it as an offensive coordinator, for example, say, you have a freshman quarterback just put up 3,500 total yards, one of the best single seasons in recent memory, in a run of pretty good seasons for quarterbacks at BYU. Yeah, I want to work with that kid. And then flipping over to the defense, well, Jay Hill's put together a top 25 caliber defense for 3 straight years. And the crazy thing is a lot of people think that the talent in BYU's defense right now pales in comparison into what is coming in terms of the recruiting classes of late, that a lot of guys on missions and the like, they're going to come back. So I look at it and say, okay, yeah, if you lose one or both of these coordinators, understand that Kalani Sitake is going to have multiple options to backfill those spots. And in some cases, they actually may upgrade in a way. A lot of people point to the Kevin Young thing. Mark Pope did some incredible things at BYU. Well, Kevin Young's taken what Mark Pope did and is blown it out of the water.
Yeah.
So I think it's the thought process.
You can do amazing things with money.
Yeah. And the other thing about this is as I've talked with people in and around BYU, multiple names have surfaced in terms of potential coordinators. One, for example, Tony White. Do you know that name by chance?
Florida State?
Florida State defensive coordinator right now. Did you know that he was baptized as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints earlier this year?
Well, the timing was impeccable.
March, in fact.
Okay.
He's got a
welcome, Brother White.
But I'm just saying, there are options out there. And he's coordinated high-level defenses now at Syracuse, Nebraska, and most recently, obviously, this past season at Florida State.
Yeah.
He's got a good track record at the Power 4 level. I'm not saying that he is the option for BYU, but he is an option.
There are guys out there that could fill those voids that are competent and experienced, and there's a pool of coaches that they can turn to. And again, this idea that, and you bring up a good point, these LDS, I mean, there's been plenty of guys that coach at BYU that aren't, and that's not a problem, especially with assistant coaches. So the pool of assistant choices is not as shallow as the head coach choices. And so there's going to be a lot of options for Kalani Sitake out there. And the thing about Kalani, and I'll also add to this, is every time we kind of poke fun at it, but it's true. Every time Kalani Sitake does a press conference or media availability, or there's a coach that he's facing that week, he talks about his relationship with that coach and how and about their kids and their wife and how they had a great time at some coaching convention or on a cruise or something. We poke fun at Kalani for saying that, but the fact is, that's Kalani. He has relationships with so many people. He's so well respected. He's so easy to get along with. He's such a great guy that he's built those relationships. He's well connected. His network goes beyond what you think it is. And he can tap into that.
And he will tap into it. And his guys are loyal to him to a fault. I'm telling you, if one or both of these coordinators leave, a lot of people would think that like the entire side of that football staff is probably going with them. Not in this case.
Right.
A lot of those guys are loyal to Kalani and want to stick around in Provo versus going with Jay or Aaron in theory, and would be willing to work with whoever were to come in as the new coordinator. Because Kalani, you mentioned the fact he is just kind of one of those classic, goes out there and people are like, I like this dude.
Yeah.
Joey McGuire was effusive in his praise for him, and Kalani vice versa did the same thing. But that's just kind of the microcosm of who Kalani is. He networks extremely well, and having those connections he has across the coaching universe is going to have a lot of guys saying, yeah, I've heard about this dude. I want to go work with him. And that is going to give, you mentioned the fact that the head coaching pool, you have to be a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to be the head coach at BYU. Assistants don't have that. Jeff Grimes, and I asked Jeff Grimes straight up when he came back as the offensive coordinator, because he had never gone back to a program that he had coached at before, and he had done a stint with Bronco Mendenhall as the O-line coach.
Yep.
And his answer to me was, there's something special about this place. That's why I wanted to come back. And I think that most coaches who come to Provo and work with a guy like Kalani realize, this is a pretty good gig I got here. And they're not really looking to bail at the first opportunity.
Real quick, the personnel-wise, and it's going to shake out. There's so many unknowns right now, but just based on what's coming back, let's assume L.J. Martin moves on to the NFL.
Yeah.
Do they have the personnel to have another season like they have the last two? Or should BYU fans brace for something different?
You're going to need to find at least one or two running backs, it feels like, in the portal. I think Jovessa DeMooney's got some juice to him, but
you got to have
an LJ Martin.
More proven, bigger physical backs.
So you're gonna have to hit the portal and try and find a guy there. I think you probably need to pull a wide receiver out of the portal as well to replace the Chase Roberts type.
That's going to be tough.
Which is going to be tough. Him. But the nice part is you have a stellar quarterback. And you and I both know how important the quarterback is, especially.
Who's only going to get better.
Correct. So, in theory, you go out in the portal and say, hey, there's this kid named Bear Bachmeyer over here. Do you want to come and play with him? There's going to be guys in the portal like, yeah, sign me up. I'm in on that because they know that, hey, there's guys around me to succeed. The offensive line, there's a little bit of retooling that's going to happen there because you have guys like Isaiah Jada and Waylon Lapuaho who are both seniors moving on. But they have TJ Woods, to his credit. He has cultivated a very, very talented unit, and he'll just kind of just plug and play guys. So there's a lot of good pieces there, and I trusted the defense, even with maybe Isaiah Glasker moving on. We know that Jack Kelly's out, but Keanu Tanavasa has all but indicated he plans on returning. So you've got pieces to build around here. Now you just need to retool it a little bit, use some of the portal additions and that money that Kalani apparently negotiated in his deal, NIL-wise, and then bolster this lineup and make another run at a Big 12 title.
So a lot of things to be excited about with BYU. There's going to be change, as there is every year. Mm-hmm. How much change? We should find out hopefully by the end of this week or in the coming days. But it's going to be an interesting offseason in Provo for the Cougars, as it always is. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, Bill Bender, college football writer for Sporting News, will join us. A lot of things to dig into, including Michigan hiring Kyle Whittingham. He'll have a take on that. I'm sure he'll have some thoughts on BYU and Utah. And, of course, the college football playoffs continue with the quarterfinals in bowl games coming up on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. We'll get his thoughts on those games as well. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jeremiah Jensen, Jake Hatchin for Alex Kirry. All right, bowl season kicks into high gear. Not only do we have some good bowl games coming up on December 31st, but the playoffs continue as well. Jake, I'm going to throw out some games. Your real quick thoughts on whether you're watching that or not. I know you're watching everything, but rate how much you love these games. Nebraska, Utah.
I watch it, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah.
Iowa, Vanderbilt.
The Diego Pavia experience is
Pavia hooks me. Iowa, I'm not interested in, but Vanderbilt, yes. ACC champion Duke and Arizona State in the Sun Bowl.
I'm a sicko, so I might turn it on, but I'm not like appointment viewing. Let's put it that way.
Okay, that is a sicko game, I think, for sure. Texas, Michigan, not so sicko. I like that.
That should be a fun game, especially with the added intrigue of Kyle Whittingham taking over Michigan and Sark, another BYU alum, leading the Texas Longhorns.
That's right. So there's a lot of interest there locally as well as nationally, and of course Miami and Ohio State will play 5:30 p.m. on New Year's Eve in the Cotton Bowl as the playoffs continue on. Let's talk about the playoffs and much more, and the new head coach at Michigan. With a friend of the program, Bill Bender, joins us, college football writer for the Sporting News. Bill, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
No, always a pleasure. Happy New Year to you. Hope you're enjoying your holidays. And I know you've been working hard during the holidays. You've been all over this Michigan situation with Kyle Whittingham. We would love to get your thoughts on the hire for Michigan of Kyle Whittingham.
Well, I think given where they were in the cycle and to be able to get a coach of that experience and that prestige, they needed somebody. When I do coach rankings, as you guys know, I've been at Sporting News for 15 years doing these. He was always in the top 15. So you land a top 15 coach, no issues there. They need somebody to kind of as a foundation piece for where they go next. They needed to break away from the Harbaugh era and they get all that. And I think one of the allure, maybe perhaps for Kyle, was, you get to have the challenge of coaching in that. Now, as Urban Meyer said yesterday on his pod, there's going to be a lot more scrutiny on him. And I'm not saying he didn't have scrutiny at Utah, but when you're at Michigan, I mean, everything's overanalyzed. I know that just from living up here over the years. I mean, especially as it pertains to that chase against Ohio State. So it's an interesting juxtaposition for me because he dealt with you. He had a really good record in that Utah BYU rivalry. That's what Ohio State and Michigan coaches are judged on, that record in that rivalry game.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you about. He was asked, like, hey, do you hate Ohio State? He's like, well, I guess I do now.
You
go ahead.
Well, one of the things, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, like I'm 46 years old, and I could probably get you just about every record of the Ohio State Michigan coach my lifetime. Like, I know that John Cooper was 2-10-1. I know that Urban Meyer was 7-0. Harbaugh, I'm going to miss this now that I said it on the air. I think he was 3-5, something like that. And technically, because Sharon Moore coached in one of those games. So we know all the records, and that's why Ryan Day was 1-4 going into this year. Now he's 2-4, and the heat's off a little bit. But that's a legacy-defining game and part of it. And I think the other part is, just being in the playoff. Like, can you get them back to the playoff, which they haven't done the last 2 years?
As you look at this hire for Kyle Whittingham at Michigan, why will it work or why won't it work?
It would work because they need, like I said, that foundation piece. One of the things with Utah, and you guys know this over the years, is I looked at the NFL draft development. Not a ton of first-round picks recently, but I think like 3. But the guys that were, Bolus and Devin Lloyd, he was a monster. When I was looking that up, I was like, I forgot how good he was. Luke Kincaid or Dalton Kincaid. Yeah. And then, Fano will be a first rounder, right? Like, I'm not reaching there, but he has those. Michigan is at its best when it's big, physical, tough football. And Utah was always that. You saw that with the rushing offense this year. So that's why it would work. Why it won't, maybe it just doesn't mesh. And again, the scrutiny is a little bit different. I thought Brady Hoke would work at Michigan. It didn't. Remember, it took Jim Harbaugh a good 5 years to really get it to work at Michigan, and people debate the tenets of why that worked to this day, obviously, with the scandal with the sign stealing.
Well, yeah, and that's a very good point you make there. And Kyle has cultivated very good relationships with the media here in Salt Lake, and a lot of the national media have enjoyed their associations with him. But you mentioned the fact that the scrutiny at Michigan is just, it's unlike many other places, and it's obviously Ohio State's in that similar vein. And Kyle will tell you that he is more polished, I think is the term he used, about the way he interacts with the media these days. Do you feel like Michigan fans are going to go into this with an open mind and really let him go about establishing himself, even though he is 66 years old and on the kind of the backside of his career?
Well, I would hope so, because you can't be choosy at this point, given the scandal that happened, right, with Sharon and everything that was. I keep saying, I don't know if I've been on this show since, but that could have been a lot worse. And it was those circumstances around that. So I do think you'll get a little bit of a honeymoon phase, obviously, in year one. But if you look, again, look at their schedule next year. Oklahoma's early. That's about when the honeymoon will end, because Oklahoma's coming up to Ann Arbor, Indiana, Oregon, Ohio State. Somebody asked me the other day if Michigan was still a top 3 program in the Big Ten. And strangely, right now, the answer would be no, because I think the top 3 programs might be playing in the semifinals here in a week.
That's an interesting take. And so, it's going to be a challenge for Whittingham to keep them in that top 3 right now, because Indiana's established themselves. And I don't think Cignetti and what Indiana's doing is a short-term thing. I think they've got something that's really special there. Looking ahead to the playoff quarterfinals, starts tomorrow night, Miami, Ohio State. Do you think there's going to be any surprises here, or do you think it's going to be chalk?
I feel like that's going to be chalky, and here's the reason why. We've heard now. Okay, so here's a stat for you guys. When those two programs, and this has been circulating today, when they played in the 2003 BCS championship game, and I know you guys remember, what a game. Yeah. There were 100 football players stepped on that field. 52 were drafted.
Jeez.
That's
insane.
mind-boggling when you go look at the roll call. The best way I described it was Vince Wilfork came off the bench for Miami.
Wow.
I mean, what are we doing?
And an NFL Hall of Famer is a bench player. That's awesome.
Yeah, and Miami has been waiting. You can tell by the chatter. They've been waiting for this moment. They still talk about that Glenn Sharp interference call, so there's definitely going to be heat around it. Now, I think people are forgetting that Ohio State didn't allow more than 16 points in a game this year. And that defense has All-Americans all over the place, and if Carson Beck turns the ball over, we will get the chalk. If Julian Sayin has time to throw to those receivers, I think the Buckeyes take care of their business. I have it at 27-13, and I feel like that's about right.
Now, big game of local interest is the lone Big 12 representative with Texas Tech taking on Oregon. You mentioned the fact you believe that the top three teams in the Big Ten could be semifinal bound. That kind of leads me to think that you think that this is a one and done situation for the Red Raiders.
Don't feel great about it, though, because I think they can win that game. And you guys saw it up close and personal, so you could probably tell me more. My biggest curiosity going into this game is Texas Tech defense is dominant around Jacob Rodriguez. Is it dominant against Oregon? And Oregon, in the best offense Texas Tech played was Utah by points. And I watched that game. I watched that game all the way through, and I do feel like Utah missed opportunities when that was a game. And then it kind of snowballed in the fourth quarter. You guys can tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, that's correct.
Does Oregon take advantage of those opportunities around Dante Moore? And if so, how does Texas Tech respond? I think it would be, and I can say this, I think it would be great for college football if Texas Tech won the game, because it would put them in the Final Four, and you'd have a Big 12 team in there instead of an SEC Big 10 invitational. And I think that would be wonderful for the sport. It really is a coin flip game. I lean Oregon because I like their big play capability, but that's not to say Texas Tech can't win that game.
Just want to get your thoughts on BYU. They just wrapped up a 12-win season. They've won 23 games in 2 years. Not many teams in the country have done that. Your overall thoughts on what they've accomplished right now and how they can keep that momentum moving now that Kalani Sitake is locked up long term? What
they accomplished was I picked Georgia Tech to win the Pop-Tarts Bowl. So they come, and so they busted my picks. That Saturday was brutal, by the way, for me. But they are a very tough program. I think they showed that toughness in that game. Bear played great. He threw the ball well. He got the ball down the field. They took advantage of that Georgia Tech defense. I like the grit around Kalani. I think they are just a solid program. Utah and BYU coming into the Big 12 have been huge additions because I wonder, and something Brett Yormark said at Media Day has stuck with me all year. It would be good for the conference if one or two programs separated. Utah's been good across multiple conferences. BYU has as well. And why can't it be those two programs? And BYU's well on its way to doing that. I mean, they are the only team that has won, what was the stat? It was something like they were the only team that's won double-digit games each of the last two seasons that didn't make the playoff.
Well, that stands out because obviously there was a lot of shouts here locally that BYU was they missed out on the playoff unjustly. I think is probably the best way to say it from a lot of people's perspective out here. Now, Bill, I want to ask you, as you look forward, you mentioned the fact that Yormark, and I was there at Big 12 Media Days as well when he did say that he wanted to see one or two teams separate, and that kind of screams, okay, who's got the most money? And that would scream Texas Tech and BYU, if you believe the reports, that they're the two biggest spenders in the league. Are you of the opinion in this day and age of college football, it's the biggest spenders are going to be at the top of these respective leagues?
It's part of that, but I mean, I grew up again in they used to call the Big Ten the Big Two.
Yeah.
It was just Ohio State and Michigan, and you know, Michigan's in a spot where I don't know. You know, Indiana proved with Cignetti that you can do it that way. You can do it in unorthodox ways. I think Oregon. I don't know. You guys maybe have a better pun than I do, trying to come up with like a oil money versus Nike money tomorrow. Like which one's better and that kind of thing. I do think in the NIL era, the Texas schools have benefited a great deal, whether it's Tech or A&M made the playoff. Texas Longhorns are arguing that they should be in. That is definitely a piece of it, but I still think it's a combo of that, how you recruit, and how you work the portal. As soon as we get off the phone here, I got to go start sorting out all these portal quarterbacks and figure out who's going where. That's a huge piece of this puzzle too.
Oh, man, the dominoes that are about to fall in college football with the portal opening on Friday, I mean, it's going to be pretty wild. And buckle up. I think we're talking locally about how BYU and Utah may have to replace coordinators, both, plural. So it's pretty wild. All the things that are going on behind the scenes right now. The next few days are going to be crazy. And, of course, the playoffs as well. And Bill Bender covers it better than anybody at the Sporting News. Check out all of his stuff. He's got great content on Kyle Whittingham taking over as the Wolverines head coach and much more. Bill, thanks so much for joining us. Always appreciate it. Always great conversation with you.
Hey, anytime. You guys have a great new year. I'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
You too, Bill. Happy New Year. Bill Bender, college football writer for the Sporting News. Some interesting takes on the playoffs, Kyle Whittingham, and BYU moving forward as well.
When he knows that rivalry because he still lives in Ohio.
Oh no, yeah, he's right in the thick of it.
So he knows exactly.
That's his wheelhouse.
He knows exactly what Kyle Whittingham is in for in his new job.
And Kyle's been in this job a long time.
Sure,
he knows what he's taking on. And when he calls it a top 5 job in the country, there's a lot of things that come along with the top 5 job that aren't fun.
Yeah.
And you even saw Jim Harbaugh played at Michigan. He is Michigan. And they almost ran him out of town because he couldn't beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
And he had to cheat to do it. But he did it.
Yep.
And now he's a legend.
Yes.
You go to Michigan and you win a national championship, you are immortal.
Correct. Yeah.
And if Kyle Whittingham, and honestly, the only thing that Kyle Whittingham has not accomplished in his career is going to the playoff and winning a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
And you're now taking over a job and going to a place where that's expected every year. Even under Sharon Moore, Michigan fans expected to go to the playoff and compete for a national championship. Why not? They did it 2 years ago. So that's the expectation that Kyle Whittingham is walking into. And when you don't meet that expectation, and Bill brings up a great point, is Michigan still top 3 program in the Big Ten?
I think
top 4, top 5.
I'd say top 5-ish, but that's not what Michigan wants to be.
I mean, Penn State.
Yeah,
2 years ago made a further run than
playoff
Michigan
semifinal.
did.
Yeah,
I know that things didn't happen well this year. They got a new head coach. I think they nailed their hire. Matt Campbell and Penn State feels like milk and cookies to me, man.
Well, and he went and hired
I think it's great.
Danton Lynn out of USC to be his DC like that.
I think Penn State is in a great position. I think Oregon's going to continue to roll. Cignetti's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
I'm sold on Indiana now moving forward. I thought last year was some kind of fluke. Their schedule was soft.
Amen. Yeah,
this year they shut me up, man. Mendoza wins the Heisman. Indiana goes undefeated. They win the Big Ten. They beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
I'm sold on Indiana, man. That's not a flash in the pan, folks. Indiana's here to stay. Kyle Whittingham's got his work cut out for him at Michigan just to finish in the top 4 or 5 in the Big Ten now.
But I think that's what he's looking forward to with this because he understands if you have that success, because he does want to play in the playoff. He does want to have a chance to compete for a national title. And if he has the success he envisions, maybe he doesn't win the Big Ten. But, JJ, if he finishes in the top 3 in the Big Ten, you're going to be in the playoff field.
And then you get a chance every year. You finish top 3 in the Big, and if the playoff expands to 16,
4.
You're getting 4 teams in from the Big Ten. Sorry, that's how this is going to work.
Yeah, so I think he's looking at it pragmatically, saying, "Yeah, I don't have to win the league every year. No. I just got to finish in that top 4.
Just got to get to the playoff." But Bill brings up a great point. Where's Michigan in the hierarchy right now?
Yeah.
Kyle Whittingham's got to establish it pretty quick that we're in the top 3.
that he does.
And to do that, you've got to be able to show you can beat Ohio State and Indiana and Oregon. You're probably not playing those teams every year, which brings up a whole other conversation about the problem in college football right now.
Well,
the conferences are too big. But
correct.
You just got to get to the playoff, get to the Big 12 championship or Big 10 championship game, get to the playoff. Kyle Whittingham has to prove that he can do that. And to do that, though, you're probably going to have to be top 4 in the Big 12 or the Big 10 every single year. And that is the standard, and that's the expectation of Michigan. And if you fall short, they're going to come get you.
Yeah.
They're coming for you.
They'll let you know real quick.
The fire's a lot hotter in Ann Arbor than it is in Salt Lake City. I promise you that. Okay. We'll take a break. When we come back, little top 10 game. Jake's going to take a shot at the top 10. You going to help him out, Annapolis? Probably.
Thanks.
Does that give you confidence?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
This will be fun next. Top 10 coming up. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And Cougars is right here on the Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time for the top 10. We do this Tuesday through Friday here on JJ and Alex, and I'm usually the person that has to try to...
You're the victim?
Get the top 10, and Alex tries to stump me every day, and he works really hard at it, and he makes me look stupid on air. So, Jake, now it's your turn to look stupid on air.
Let's go.
I know DJ and PK try to do that to you every morning.
Well,
we'll just try to make you feel comfortable here as well.
I was going to say, isn't that like just my everyday life? Come on, let's go.
All right, this won't be too hard. It's going to be NBA related because we've got a Jazz game tonight. Jazz and Celtics tonight. Celtics in town. Celtics have been surprisingly good this year. We thought that they were going to, do what the Indiana Pacers are doing and take a gap year because of an injury. Not so fast. The Celtics are in the mix in the Eastern Conference, having a great season. Jaylen Brown is doing really well, and they're 19-12 coming into town, third place in the Eastern Conference. Today's top 10 is NBA related. Top 10 NBA scorers right now. You don't have to do them in order.
We're talking career?
No.
Okay.
This season. You're going to try to name the top 10 scorers in the NBA right now.
Okay.
And it's going to be hard because I know you've been locked in on college football.
Yeah.
It's tough to get locked in on the NBA in November and December. So we're going to test your NBA knowledge currently right now.
Okay.
So we got to start.
Sorry. My bad. Go ahead.
We got to do that. There's a protocol here, Jake.
I apologize.
Okay. Alex Napolis decides when we're ready to go. When he turns on the timer. Napolis, whenever you're ready. Go. Top 10 scores in the NBA right now.
All right. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Ding.
Nikola Jokic.
Ding.
Oh, geez. Jalen Brunson.
Ding.
Okay, let's see. Oh, Luka Doncic.
Ding.
Jeez. Kawhi Leonard. Oh, man. Let's see. Paolo Banchero. Oh, my gosh. This is awful. Oh, Kevin Durant. What?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
Jaylen Brown, who's in town tonight.
Oh, yeah, Jaylen Brown.
Ding, ding, ding.
Good, good call, Alex. Thank you. Jaylen Brown. Let's see. Who else we got here? Lauri Markkanen, maybe?
Ding, ding, ding.
I was going to say, because he's been on a scoring tear most of the season. Obviously, the local connection.
Can you get one at the buzzer?
Man. Steph Curry.
Ding.
Okay.
Donovan.
Donovan Mitchell.
Ding.
Okay. Oh.
There's a buzzer beater. You did it. You did a good job.
How many did we do? We get any of those?
We'll go through, and you'll see how many you got. Number one. No, should I get 10 and 1 or 1 to 10? What do you guys prefer?
Go 10 to 1.
Let's go 10 to 1. Number 10 is Lauri Markkanen of the Utah Jazz.
All right, there we go.
Lauri Markkanen is top 10 in scoring, which in my opinion probably should be in the All-Star game if you're top 10 in the league in scoring. Just my opinion.
I would agree.
Number 9, Steph Curry.
All right.
Usually at the top. Late in this career is still 9th, though, which is impressive when you know how old Steph Curry is. To still be in the top 10 in scoring is pretty impressive. You did not get number 8, and you're going to kick yourself. This is possibly my favorite NBA player currently. Superstar from the Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards is 8th in the league in scoring. Number 7, you got Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks. Number 6, you got Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Number 5, easy, Nikola Jokic, who's now going to miss a month with a knee injury. So,
which is like the best case scenario for how bad that looked when he.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Hyperextended like that.
But it's going to be really tough for Jokic to win the MVP award with a knee injury, and we'll see what that impact that might have on the Nuggets playoff standing situation. Number 4 is in town tonight. Jaylen Brown, one of the big reasons why the Celtics have remained competitive and are 19-12 on the season is the scoring of Jaylen Brown. He is number 4. Number 3, you guys missed. Tyrese Maxey is third in the NBA
I would have never gotten
in
that one.
scoring.
Like, I know that the 76ers have been like wholly reliant on him, but I would have never guessed that he's
That's how reliant
top
they
10, if not top 5. Wow. Jeez.
Tyrese Maxey, number 3 in the NBA in scoring. Number 2, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay.
And number 1 is Luka Doncic of the LA Lakers. But how about that? Lauri Markkanen is number 10. It's also interesting to look, and I'll run through this real quick. Yeah. The top 20 scorers in the league, when you run through those, there's other surprises in that top 20 as well. Number 11 is Austin Reeves. Jeez. Number 12, Cade Cunningham. Makes sense, right?
Okay, yeah.
The Pistons are number 1 in the East. James Harden still has it, number 13.
All right.
The number 14 scorer in the NBA, Michael Porter Jr. of the Brooklyn Nets.
Jeez, MPJ, man.
Kevin Durant is down to 15. Denny Avdia of the Portland Trailblazers is 16th in the league in scoring.
Portland's so
Denny is having a year, and if you're not paying attention, he has been a revelation for the Trailblazers this year, taking his game to another level. He is a top 20 scorer in the league now. Devin Booker's number 17, Phoenix Suns.
Okay.
Jamal Murray, 18. Number 19, Keontae George, 24.2 points per game. Keontae George is a top 20 scorer in the NBA this year.
What a leap he has taken.
Amazing leap. And then Norman Powell is number 20. Jalen Johnson just on the outside there.
Okay.
So that is 2 Utah Jazz players in the top 20 in scoring. Did you think that was going to happen this year?
No.
If you said so, you're lying.
Yeah.
So pretty impressive. Lowry and Keontae, that's how good they have been this year. So you're going to see 3 of the top 20 scorers in the NBA tonight at the Delta Center when the Celtics and Jazz tangle. The only trip the Celtics make out west this season to play the Jazz. And, of course, you can hear that game right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We got to take a break. When we come back, Steve Bartle is live in Las Vegas. A lot to discuss with Steve. John Henry Daly's in the transfer portal. Kyle Whittingham was in the transfer portal and has landed at Michigan. And all the movement that could happen on the coaching staff. So many questions. Hopefully Steve's got some answers. We'll hit him up next on JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.